everyone, it is Deafening Silence ASMR with a new video for you today. And this is kind of special, as you can tell. I was trying to think of what to do for the next couple of videos. I have some ideas lined up, and I was trying to take a break from all the Pokemon content and like the book or page turning videos, that type of thing. But when I was looking around, I found this and I completely forgot I had it, and I was pretty shocked and surprised, and I thought, okay, this is the new video. As you can tell, this is the original Nintendo Power official player's guide from the year 2000. And I bought this secondhand. As you can tell, it's not in a good shape. This was either owned by a rowdy kid or someone who really took Pokemon seriously. And yes, I brought my wife's Cyndaquil and Snorlax along for the video, but they'll move out of the way here in a second so we can flip this open. As y'all may know, Nintendo Power started in I think it was the 90s. Yeah. And they went straight through to 2012. That was the last time they did one, I think in December. And these are very nice. And I've already done, a strategy guide on Johto, and it was pretty well received, but this is the original for Gold and Silver. And so I wanted to open this up and look through it with y'all and see, what we have. So let's go ahead and get into it. And if you like the Pokemon content or just the content in general on the channel, if you could give a like and subscribe and everything, I would appreciate it. And without further ado, okay, you two, you have to go for now. Let's begin. And it has some writing in it. Unfortunately, someone looks like they maybe were putting a team together or something, but we'll skip that. Yeah, I bought the second hand. It was cheap, and if you get like a clean version on eBay, you're spending $30 or more, and I didn't want to do that. So, like I said, it's not in the best shape, but you can see here we have some different stuff. We have the map here, the world map, and the main thing that I love about this, believe it or not, is Ken Sugimori's artwork being in here. And the watercoloring that he does, it's so good. I'm actually wanting to bring some Pokemon drawing to the channel, doing some drawing stuff. My Naruto video didn't do so good, but I do like drawing from time to time. I used to do a lot of artwork years ago, and so I want to do Scyther, but I might also do that particular Cyndaquil artwork right there, and do maybe some digital and traditional stuff with it. But Rise of the Pokemaster. We have the hero there. Red already made his name for himself. And there's your rival. He either is in canon called Ethan or Emil. I can't remember which one it is. But I'll be getting the rest of the Pokemon mangas, so I'll definitely keep up with that. We have, of course, this was the generation that introduced Pokemon eggs and breeding and such. And, of course, the baby Pokemon and the two new types, which were Dark and Steel. We have something about battle strategies here. I've mentioned this in other Pokemon videos, but Johto is like my favorite as far as the region design, aesthetically speaking, is my favorite region. And that, of course, those games include Pokemon from both Gen 1 and 2, which is my favorite. So that's what I grew up with as a kid. And Johto, I think, is actually where I watched most of the Pokemon anime. And they show a sample team here, how you can have a team of 6. And, of course, building a team so it covers different types and have different advantages and stuff. And it shows here all the, weaknesses and strengths of the different teams. to be a Pokemon Master, you have to know how to catch them all. Of course, catch them all was still like a trademark quote from Pokemon back then. They stopped that. They stopped that as an official quote somewhere around, I think, Gen 3 and 4. I don't remember. Yeah, the trainer's manual, like a gameplay checklist of sorts, showing that, you can check it off as you go, as you finish things. Then we have the Kanto side of it. Of course, Johto, is not the only region you play in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Which, the original Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I beat all those as a kid. And sadly, I don't have any of those cartridges anymore. I think I traded them for Yu-Gi-Oh games. And I'm not happy about that. I wish I kept them. Not just because they're worth a lot, but just for the memories. So we start off, with the game actually over here in New Bard Town as we begin. And of course, you go to Professor Elm's lab and you can pick one of the three. And I think it's been made clear on my channel through my different videos. Fire's my favorite, so I would go with Cyndaquil, but Totodile's a close second. I love Totodile. And it's a great HM user. Although, making your starter an HM user, I think that's tantamount to a death sentence. But, I don't know. Chikorita always kind of gets left out in the cold, which is unfortunate. But it's just not as good as the other two, especially for Johto, if you were trying to do like a solo run or something. So Route 29 is the first route. And this is also the generation where they introduced like day cycles, where there will be Pokemon that are more likely to show up at night or maybe during the day. There's like an evening cycle on HeartGold and SoulSilver, of course. And of course, this was the games that introduced Espeon and Umbreon, and you evolved them at those certain times to get said Pokemon. Then we have Cherry Grove City, the first city in the game outside of New Bard Town. And you'll fight your rival here for the first time, and you'll, of course, have the starter that's strong against whatever you have. And there's a lot of Pokemon that can show up here in routes 30 and 31. Not anything really notable. A lot of like the basic Gen 1 stuff and a couple of Gen 2 stuff. Although Hoot and Noctowl are not too bad. It's an okay flyer to get you through the game, I guess. Though Hoot really should have been, or Noctowl I should say, should have been normal psychic or psychic flying. One of the two. So we have Violet City. And, of course, Leader Falconer, who has a level 7 and level 9 Pokemon in this game. In HeartGold and SoulSilver, he has a level 9 and level 13. Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Which, actually, side plug. I'm currently running through a hardcore Nuzlocke no Pokemon Center challenge on Twitch right now, which I'll be streaming that as of the recording of this video. This would be Monday, but yeah, I'm going to be recording this, or streaming that, I should say, the next couple of days. And I've already done 3 videos, and it's went okay. But, yeah, took Falconer out in that one in the first stream, and it was kind of tricky. So we have Sprout Tower, and of course you can get a Ghastly here. What's notable about this for me is this is where my love of Haunter over Gengar kind of began, because while I absolutely love Gengar, I never really got to use one. I got to use Haunter, and Haunter was on my first team that I ran through Gold and beat it. And so yeah, I prefer Haunter just for sentimental reasons. And of course you can get a Bellsprout because it's Sprout Tower, and then you can trade said Bellsprout for an Onix who's named Rocky, and Rocky was also on my first team. I think I maybe even had him at Choke too. I had like all the Pokemon that couldn't evolve because they had to be traded. So we have Route 32 here, and what's notable is you can get Mareep, which is one of my favorite electric types. I think a lot of people will have that sentiment. And it also has Hoppip, which I've said this many times, but Jumpluff is actually an underrated Pokemon if you give it the right moveset. So we have the Runes of Alph. And of course all the unknown. I have tried to catch all the alphabet before and just gave up. I think everybody said that. We have Union Cave. And Union Cave, of course, as you get further into it, you can get a Lapras. Once you can use Surf, you can enter the second basement level of Union Cave on a Friday. And you can get a Lapras, which is an awesome Pokemon. And of course, there'll be an Onix in there, and of course, the infamous Zubats that show up, which in this generation means something because you can get Crobat, which is the best flyer for these generation games, in my opinion. And then we have Route 33 in Azalea Town. Bugsy has a Scyther, which is only level 16 in this game. It's level 17 in HeartGold and SoulSilver, and it's a lot more dangerous there because it has Technician as an ability. Abilities didn't exist here yet, obviously. So this battle here is probably a little bit easier than the HeartGold and SoulSilver one. So we have Elix Forest, Route 34. I've not fixed the bent edges of this strategy guide since I got it. Like I said, I forgot I even had this. I completely forgot I had this. Goldenrod City, of course, the main big town that exists in this game, as well as some like modded games like what's it called? I shouldn't have even said it. It's like the Pokemon horror game. You have to go to Goldenrod City and fight off zombies and stuff. So at Goldenrod City, of course, is the big store you can go to. And you can get a bike here as well. But of note, we have some very cool elemental punches that you can buy. And then we have the Goldenrod City Game Corner, which is slots, which that was kind of a controversy that popped up. You know, kids gambling and stuff wasn't the best message, so they changed that to something that's still a little bit like gambling in HeartGold and SoulSilver, but you don't actually put anything on the line. But you can get some powerful TMs here, as well as some Pokemon. In Silver, Sandshrew, and Ekans is what it is in Gold. But you can get a Dratini, which is very difficult to get a Dragonite in this game because you would have to do an insane amount of level grinding. Because when you go into the Pokemon League for the first time, or Pokemon are typically going to be in like the low 40s to mid 40s. So we have Bill's house. Bill, of course, is the man who made the PC. And you can go back to his house and get an Eevee, which can evolve into one of these. And of course, as I mentioned, here's where they added the awesome Umbreon and Espeon. But of course, you can also use my favorite, Jolteon. And those are not the only moves it can learn. It can learn Thunderbolt too. I'm curious why it doesn't show it there. But between the two here, I will say I prefer using Espeon. But Umbreon's the best designed evolution. That's just my opinion. And gosh, I love Ken Sugimori's artwork from back then. Can't get enough of it. So we have the National Park. Of course, this is where the bug catching event goes on every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And the game does keep track of those days. I don't know if in these games back then you could fudge like the times on them to make it like a certain day. I'm pretty sure you can with the HeartGold and SoulSilver, obviously. But in this area, in the bug catching event, you can get yourself a Scyther, which is awesome. My favorite design Pokemon, as I mentioned. I would like to do a drawing of it. But you can also get a Pinsir. You can get a Venonat, a Paris, Kakuna. You can get them as high as level 18 here. So, and yeah, the prices are those, and they're randomized in SoulSilver and HeartGold. You can actually get some other evolution stones, but so we have Route 37. This is notable because you can get some fire types, Vulpix or Growlithe, and of course they're version exclusive. And I definitely prefer Growlithe, but I love them both. I love them both a lot. So you also get a Stantler. You get a Stantler, I feel it's one of the forgotten Pokemon from this game, this generation. So we have Ecruteak City. This is like the main town of the game, as it were, like the main story town, I should say. And of course, they've made some beautiful like artwork of this area. But Morty is the gym leader here, and he has, yes, a Ghastly, 2 Haunters, and a Gengar. And they recommend having ground and psychic types because psychic, really? Ghost are super effective against psychic. I don't know why. Why are we saying that? It does say they're very weak against psychic or ground type attacks. Is that? So I thought I was going crazy. Unless I'm misremembering something, I think even as far back as Gen 2, psychic was not super effective against ghost. The reason why psychic was so overpowered in Gen 1 is because ghost types actually didn't have ghost moves that could hit them. So this is a mistake here. They're saying use a psychic Pokemon against Morty. No, you will get bodied if you use a psychic. You can use ground because they're all poison, and like I said, there wasn't abilities at this point, so they didn't have levitate, but they could avoid ground attacks. So yeah, use ground attacks. I don't think you can have a dark Pokemon at this point that has a dark move, but yeah, that's very shocking. They're saying that in here. That was a mistake by somebody. But anyway, so we have the Burn Tower, which has some Pokemon in it. In Basement 1, you can actually get a Magmar. That's pretty cool. And you'll have a fight with a rival who will have those Pokemon there. Then we have Tin Tower. This is where Ho-Oh would be. Of course, they're putting this here even though you can't access Ho-Oh until later, I believe. Then we have Route 38 and 39. This is where Tauros is, which is a really awesome Pokemon to use. Better in Gen 1 than Gen 2, but still. Then we have Miltank. Farfetch'd. That's great. Then move on to Olivine City. And they're showing Electrode here. I don't know why are they showing Electrode. Can you get one? Actually, they showed Pokemon here. Can you actually get this at 38 and 39? It's not listing. It's not listing what Pokemon are available there. Maybe it's just saying what Pokemon you can use to get to there. I'm not sure. Interesting. So you have Olivine City and Jasmine with her steel types. They wanted to have a gym leader that showed off those Pokemon in this game, and they're saying fire, ground, and water is effective. Which, yeah, ground's okay against Magnemite. For Steelix, I would definitely recommend fire. You could do fighting, but I don't know if you have a fighting Pokemon you can even get at this point. So we have routes 40 and 41. And here you can get a Krabby. Love Krabby and Kingler. They're really awesome. Of course, you're going to have to deal with annoying tentacles. But you can also get a Magikarp, which evolves into the mighty Gyarados. Then we have the Whirl Islands, which of course is where Lugia is. The mascot for Silver. And it's Psychic Flying. Many people said it should be Psychic Water or... yeah, I think even Flying Water that uses Psychic moves. I'm just like, make it Psychic Water. Not every Pokemon that can fly needs to be a flying type. And of course there's the annoying thing where there's like not a single flying type that is just, just flying. They're all dual types. So I have Sandwood City, and you can be gifted a Shuckle, if I remember right here. Of course, Shuckle is infamous for having the potential to have the very highest attack you can possibly have in a Pokemon game. In later generations, if you use, moves and such, right? So the gym leader here is Chuck, who has a Primeape and a Poliwrath, which I love both those Pokemon. Then we can move on to Route 42 and Mount Mortar. And here we can get Geodudes, Machops, Goldines. Machop, of course, one of my favorites, as I've mentioned. Then we have Mahogany Town. And the leader here is Price with Ice-type Pokemon, with Seal, Dugong, and Piloswine. You would want to use, I guess Electric for 2 of them. For Piloswine, I mean, you can use Fire, but if Piloswine has a ground attack, you're getting bodied. So, I don't know. Piloswine kind of has a solid moveset, or typing. So we have Lake of Rage, which is iconic, of course, for the red Gyarados, which is like the first, technically, first shiny that was made by them. And the reason being is because they wanted to make the red Gyarados pop out against the blue water better. So, I mean, they went with red for that color choice. Then we have the Rocket Hideout and a great watercoloring here of Coughing. Which, yes, you can get Coughing here, I think. They have the Radio Tower and Underground. You have to go back there to fight them, and I think you can run into Electrodes here, like that are masked as Pokeballs, if I remember right. But it's been a while since I played the original Gen 2 games. So we have Ladybug Spinner right there. We have Route 44, which gives us a chance at some new Pokemon, it looks like. I noticed, they just abandoned the, if you look at these earlier pages, they have these lists here, and they show like a list of what Pokemon are available at routes and stuff. They have it in some areas, and they just kind of abandoned that, but... So we have Route 44, like I said, and we get some new Pokemon we can get here. Lickitung, which is great in Pokemon Stadium for the minigame, but not really actually in battling. At least in the early games. Then you get a Tangela and a Jinx, Pineco, Bellsprout, Ice. Then we have Ice Path. Then we have Blackthorn City, where Claire is. And she has Dragonairs and a Kingdra. And, of course, she's a whiner that doesn't want to, let you have your gym badge after you beat her, which is breaking the rules. She should be disbarred as a gym leader, actually, for that. And, of course, Dragon's Den, where you can catch, I think you can catch a Dratini. May be able to catch a dragon there, too. But routes 45 and 46, where finally you can get an awesome Heracross, which has a very unique typing back then in bug and fighting, which I don't know how many bug fighting types we have now off the top of my head. Then we have the rest of Dark Cave, Route 26 and 27, which link you over to Kanto. And yeah, we have Rapidash here, or Ponyta and Rapidash that you can get here at Victory Road or Mount Silver. I think Mount Silver as well. So yeah, we have Victory Road, and then you'll have your battle with your rival, number 5 it says here. So of course you'll have one of the final evolutions of the starters, and then you'll have Sneasel, Magneton, Haunter, Golbat, and Kadabra, which is I guess there's some okay coverage there. I don't know. The fact that he has Haunter and Kadabra along with Golbat. Anyway. So then we're going to have the Elite Four, which you can, of course, get past, Victory Road. And you can see here what Will has. He uses Psychics. And Xatu, Executor, Slowbro, Jinx, and Xatu again. So I'm going to mix there. Then we have Koga, who's made it up to the Elite Four. Boy, I look at him a whole different light after reading the manga. But he's got like a mix of like bug and poison. But of course his star Pokemon is a Crobat, which makes sense for him. And then we have Bruno, who has fighting, and he doesn't have a single Gen 2 Pokemon in there, which he could have a Heracross. Then we have Karen, who has dark types, or dark types, but I mean ghost and poison as well, kind of a mix. So not really dark, not really, especially with Vileplume. That's a weird choice, but yeah, Umbreon, Vileplume, Gengar, Murkrow, and Houndoom. Love that she has Houndoom. And then, of course, here's the infamous battle with Lance, who has, 3 underleveled Dragonites, along with Aerodactyl, Charizard, and Gyarados. And, yeah, that's a pretty strong team, actually. Especially considering Dragonites are not the level they're supposed to be. And it's very unlikely that you would have a Dragonite at this point. So, of course, once you beat him, you can move on to Kanto and fight the gym leaders there. That's what this game is notable for. Not really much to speak of in the way of like story content or anything. It's just going through and battling them. Your first battle would most likely be against Lieutenant Surge. And it doesn't say here what Pokemon he has. That's odd. He's going to have a Raichu, it looks like, and I would assume an Electabuzz since it's there, but it doesn't tell you. Then we have Route 6, where you can get an Abra. Good luck evolving it. Then we have Sabrina, who uses Psychic types. She's going to have her Alakazam. It looks like she may have a Mr. Mime. Route 8, you can get a chance at a Growlithe again, and Meowth. Lavender Town. And I really don't know if there's anything you need to really do in Lavender Town, because I don't know, the Pokemon Tower I don't think has much to offer. So next it says we should move to Cerulean City and fight Misty, which will have she will have a Lapras and a Starmie, I assume. Again, it doesn't tell you what Pokemon you have to face here, which is, it's really weird that they actually showed teams back here, but not here. You're a good enough trainer at this point, you can handle it. So we make our way through Douglas Cave in Route 7, and this was something that was kind of stupid here in that, like Houndoom, is supposed to be showing off the new Dark type, but you can't get it until after you've beaten the Elite Four and moved your way over to Kanto, where that Pokemon did not exist yet. It's not native to its own region, right? Then we have Murkrow, which I think may suffer from the same thing. And then, of course, even in HeartGold and SoulSilver, they did the same thing with Yanma. It doesn't evolve into Yanmega until after you've beaten the Elite Four. So you can't even make like a great team of what you would like to use just from Gen 2. So now we have Fuchsia City with Janine, who's now there instead of Koga. And she is his Koga's daughter, and she uses poison types still, like he does. It looks like she may have a Crobat, an Ariados, and a Venomoth, so kind of respectable, I guess. Then we have some routes here. Why are they number 46 Drowsy, but then number 97 Hypno? Okay. I don't know what that's supposed to say. Route 2 here, you can get a Pikachu, which is still chubby from back then. Then we have Pewter City, which is Brock. He's going to have a Graveler, a Rhyhorn, and an Onix. Really should have a Golem at this point, I think, dude. Then we have Mount Moon, where you can get, of course, a Clefairy. And you're going to have a rival battle here, which it still says rival battle 5. That's not correct. It's battle 6. Then we have Viridian City and Route 1. And, of course, Viridian City's gym leader here is Blue, who will have a mix of things. It recommends here what to get. And, of course, he's going to have an Arcanine, which he does not have an Arcanine in the manga. He's known for having, Arcanine in the anime and the games. But, in the manga, he has a Ninetales. Cinnabar Island, that's Blaine. Rapidash and Magmar. So, last up, of course, is Mount Silver itself, and that is where you would take on Red. And his Pokemon are going to be very powerful. If I remember right, he has a Pikachu, the 3 starters from Gen 1, Snorlax, and then an Evolution, but I can't remember which one it is. And you can do that, and then take on the Elite Four, and then you've beaten the game. Totally. And now we have the data file, or data file, however you pronounce that. And it still talks about gotta catch them all. I love that was the theme, and yet it stopped telling you what Pokemon are in different routes. But yes, they mention here that you can headbutt trees to get different Pokemon, and actually you can get Heracross earlier in the game, I believe, if you do headbutting of trees, though it can be tricky. And that's how you get Pineco, which eventually is Fortress, and, you know. So now it talks here about all the Pokeballs, which my favorite designed Pokeball is not here listed. It's the Dusk Ball. That's interesting. Didn't it exist in this game? But yeah. I love that I got to, actually, my streaming that I'm doing on Twitch, I actually got to catch an Absol with a Dust Ball, and that was pretty awesome. So it mentions here Tyrogue and how it, evolves into the 3 different Pokemon. If it's higher in attack or higher in defense or equal, and the equal to get Hitmon top, good luck. Good luck with that. Then we have the different trade transformations. It shows the, original 4 here, but then of course we have new to this game, Politoed, Scizor, Kingdra, Porygon 2, Steelix, Slowking. Of course I love Kingdra, and Scizor is cool, but to me he's still not as cool as Scyther. Then we have some more evolutions over here, like the evolution stones. And of course introducing the sunstones to get, Sunflora and Blossom. Blossom's another forgotten Pokemon, I feel. Then we have the friend evolutions. That's how you get Crobat. That's how you also get Snorlax. You can see my buddy here, Snorlax, from Munchlax. That's how you get Cleffa or Ghastly in a certain form to Clefairy. Then the mighty Blissey. We have in-game events. Shows the gift Pokemon, the game prizes, bug catching event, in-game trades. I mentioned Bellsprout to Onix, but Drowsy to Machop, Krabby for Voltorb, Dragonair for Rhydon, Gloom Rapidash, and Chansey for an Aerodactyl. I forgot all about that one. I don't remember where that one's at. Here's the Pokemon eggs. And it shows the egg groups, of course. No eggs here. Female Pokemon, male Pokemon. How they're always male, always female. It lists here that Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are always male. That's interesting. Then we have some here that are genderless, but can still get eggs, with Ditto, of course, the Ditto method. Pokemon relocation, basically version exclusives, and, how you'd have to get them, and, of course, Pokemon that are completely unavailable, like the legendaries and the Kanto starters and the fossils and everything like that. Just letting you know what you're going to have to do to get them over. Then we have the rare Pokemon like the starters and the legendaries in this game. And, of course, the legendary, well, technically they're cats, but they're always referred to as legendary dogs, and that's how I choose to think of them as. And, actually, they don't say here. They don't say here what they consider them as, but Suicune here is my favorite legendary. But I do love Raikou and Entei a lot as well. They all look awesome. And we have Snorlax, they can catch. The Johto weekly event map, where you can get certain things on certain days of the week, you know, every night. So yeah, I mentioned here like the Lapras that I was talking about. You can get in Union Cave on Friday, but then, you know, there's some other events here, items, you know, Pokemon, TMs, that sort of thing. The phone call map, how you get phone numbers and such. There's only a couple really worth your time. Like there's a hiker, I think it's Anthony, that gets like items and stuff they can give you. There's a girl that does it too. The Johto tree map, showing like what the different berries and apricorns are. And we have the more weekly events for phone calls, teams, and everything like that. This is the Kanto version. Then we have an item list, what all the different items are and what they do, how much they cost. It does say where you can get them. This was your version of Google back then, basically. There might have been some stuff online. There might have been some stuff online back then. I was able to get cheat codes, you know, in the early 2000s and stuff online, but I don't know if anybody would have had anything like detailed that would have been easy to access if you didn't have these. Strategy guides were really important back then. So we have the TM list here, showing what the different TMs are, and there's notably TM number 50 is Nightmare, which is a move that doesn't exist anymore. And I think some of these have changed, like the elemental punches. Of course, like, you know, down the road. Hidden TMs. Then we have abilities or attacks, but they're not like abilities, if you know what I mean. They're calling like non-attacking moves abilities in this generation here. So yeah, we're not talking about the actual abilities that pop up in Gen 3. Then Pokemon Locator. Okay, so this is where you would look to see where all the Pokemon are available at, if you wanted to know, because they stopped showing it in the rest of the book. So that's what would help you complete the Pokedex. And that will do it. And that is the original Nintendo Power Player's Guide from 2000 for Pokemon Silver and Gold. And this is really cool. I like having this. Like I said, I wish I had a cleaner version of it, but I was able to get it for like a couple of bucks as opposed to $30 to $40 on eBay. So it's pretty cool. A lot of good information. I think, like I said, it's interesting that they made that mistake with the Morty thing about using psychic Pokemon, which I don't even think you could do yet by that point in the game. But yeah, that is it. And if you appreciated or liked this video, whatever, like I mentioned earlier in the video, if you can just give me all the usual love and support, I'd appreciate it. And we're going to have a couple more videos out this week. I'm going to have kind of like a traditional ASMR video, doing different triggers and stuff like that. And as I mentioned, I did do a poll, and most people would prefer that if I did do streaming with this channel, I did it on here, and I will be on YouTube, and it will be ASMR format. But for now, you can still catch me streaming on Twitch, doing Pokemon right now. And that's all the like announcement stuff. So until next video, take care, everybody. Take care of your friends and family, and take care of yourself. And thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.